Have you ever tried to log a JSON object in your project, only to find that it doesn't quite look the way you expected? It's frustrating, right? If that's you, then you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into how to log JSON objects using log4j's JSONLayout. I totally understand your concern. Many developers face this issue when trying to log structured data. You want your logs to be clear and useful, not just a string representation of your object. You're definitely not alone in this. Here's the specific situation we're looking at. One user recently asked, is it possible to log a JSON object while keeping the JSON format using log4j's JSONLayout? They provided an example where the output was not as expected. Sound familiar? Let's dig into this together and find a solution. So what could be causing this issue? When you log a JSON object, it often gets converted to a string, which is why you're seeing that extra layer of quotes. We'll break it down step by step so you can figure out how to log it correctly. And don't go anywhere. I've got a pro tip at the end that will help you log JSON objects correctly every time. To log a JSON object correctly using log4j with JSONLayout, the user needs to ensure that the logging framework is configured to handle JSON objects properly. First, they should check their log4j configuration file. Next, the user should modify the logging statement to ensure that the JSON object is serialized correctly. Instead of using the placeholder format, they can directly log the JSON object. After updating the logging statement, the user should test the logging output to verify that the JSON object is now being logged in the desired format. They can do this by running their application and checking the logs. If the output is still not as expected, the user may need to ensure that the JSONLayout is correctly configured to serialize objects. This might involve checking additional settings in the log4j configuration. Finally, the user should consult the log4j documentation for any specific configurations related to JSONLayout. This will help ensure that all settings are optimized for logging JSON objects. Did you know? The first logging frameworks were so basic that they only logged plain text. We've come a long way in making logs more structured and useful. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative solution provided by another user suggests using the object message as JSON object feature in your log4j2 configuration. By setting this option to true in your log4j2.xml file, you can log JSON objects while maintaining their format. Here's the pro tip I promised. Always log your objects directly when using JSONLayout. This simple habit can save you from a lot of confusion and make your logs much more readable. And there you have it. You should now be able to log JSON objects correctly using log4j's JSONLayout. Remember, clear logging is key to effective debugging. If you found this helpful, hit the subscribe button for more tips, and don't miss our bonus pro tip on enhancing your logging practices.